The Texas Rangers are roaring up the standings with a sweep of the Milwaukee Brewers, and they've got the AL wildcard and even the AL West in their sights. This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On MLB Game Night. My name is Jon Frisch. I'm one half of Locked On Angels. With me is J.D. Hafron of Locked On Cardinals, whose Cardinals kept us up waiting all night for them to finish the game and blow it in the 13th inning, but that's fine. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And coming up on today's show.
Not salty at all, John. Just
not
keep
salty
digging
whatsoever.
away, everybody.
The Phillies established their dominance of the NL East. Who can the Yankees trust, JD? And Carlos Correa hits his 200th career home run. Before we get to all that, I want to thank our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. JD, we're going to lead off with the Texas Rangers, who have just come out of nowhere as the season comes to an end. Brewers on the verge of getting swept in this one today. Rangers going for their fourth win in a row. Let's take it over to Bryce Paterick of Locked On Rangers, who's loving today's Jake Burger bombs.
These scrappy little rascal Rangers aren't just a cute, fun, feel-good story. They just swept the best team in baseball. I'm Bryce Paterick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast, and this was yet another huge game for the Texas Rangers, taking 3 of the team with the best record in all of baseball, who hadn't been swept since the first weekend of the season. The Rangers did it in this game through the help of Merrill Kelly and Jake Burger. Despite going down 2-0 with 2 solo shots to start this game, the Rangers rallied back with 2 home runs of their own, both off the bat of Jake Burger. Both of them absolutely massive moonshots off of Freddie Peralta, who is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. I mean, when things are going right for the Rangers, they are really going right. Not only getting those 2 home runs from Jake Burger, but scoring the initial go-ahead run on a go-ahead balk. That's how you know things are going right for this Texas Rangers team, and things are very much going right for these Texas Rangers.
There's a little bit of irony to the fact that Jake Burger is the one who got the 2 home runs when we've been talking about the Brewers and their 14 games and the burgers, the free burgers that they got earlier this season. A little bit of a tinge of irony that I love there. Hey, let's take it over to Chuck from Locked On Brewers. He's got one thing in particular that he didn't like from this loss in Milwaukee.
Real problem with today, other than the fact that they lost, keeping Freddie in there for 112 pitches. And I know he's got to suck up some for the bullpen. I just, at this stage where the Brewers are at this point, let's get him out of there before 112 pitches. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Brewers hit home runs with Churio and Terang to start this game and pretty much silent the rest of the night. Swept for only the second time this year, and it was a bad series in Texas. The Rangers have a lot to play for. The Brewers still do too, but not as much as the Texas Rangers, who are fighting for a playoff spot. No excuse for getting swept in a 3-game series. Off day Thursday. Let's regroup against the Cardinals. Cardinals are not going to be an easy out either this weekend. Don't be thinking that. See you a little bit later on tonight in the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
What do you think, JD? Is Chuck right about the Cardinals? What do you say?
Well, I mean, they played the Mariners really tough in this series that we just watched. So it's not like they're just rolling over for people, but very young team. They should have Brendan Donovan back. So maybe things will be a little bit tougher for them. But I mean, who's the better team on paper? Who's been the better team all season? It's been the Milwaukee Brewers. So I wouldn't suspect that they'd have a problem taking at least 2 of 3 in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So he mentioned the Rangers have something to play for. They certainly do. They're so close to the first place position in the AL West, trying to get into the wild card spot, keeping pace with the Mariners, who won their game, obviously. But since the beginning of August, the Rangers have hit 250, a 319 on base, 417 slugging, 736 OPS, 45 home runs, 169 RBI, 20 and 17. In the first half, they went 48 and 49. Second half, they're 29 and 21. JD, is this the team the Rangers have been waiting for to come around all season? Are they finally here at just the right time? What do you say?
I mean, it seems like it. I mean, I can't really argue with the results that they're getting right now. Everything seems to be working well. And you always fear those teams that have a veteran presence. Usually you need a veteran presence. You need to have a manager that's been there, done that before. And when that sort of team gets hot down the stretch in the final weeks of September, headed towards the playoffs, those are the ones that you're like, look out, because they're the ones who do a lot of damage and come in with those upsets of those, top seeds that have been sitting around for a little bit and haven't been playing meaningful baseball for a while. And the Rangers got a lot of those things going on with them right now. Would I pick them in an upset win? Probably not, but at the same time, can't take away all of the good that they've been doing here in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Bochy got a lot of World Series with the even years with the Giants, and just pointing it out that it is a odd year that he got with the Rangers in 2023. So going to be interesting how this one plays out for Texas. Like I said last night, I think that they're going to be the ones to rise to the occasion in the American League West. Let's take it over to Philadelphia, where the Phillies got outstanding pitching performances in the first two games of this 4-game set, and the Mets kind of continuing to slide. Let's talk about it with Connor Thomas from Locked On Phillies on a big day for the Phillies offense.
Phillies smoke the Mets again. They take them down 11-3, and what a night for Max Kepler and Brandon Marsh. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies, and Christopher Sanchez had a great start, and it's going to be really overshadowed, partially because Aaron Nola and Ranger Suarez have already had great starts in this series, but Sanchez deserves a lot of credit, and so does the offense. Max Kepler, a 5 RBI night, and Brandon Marsh, a 3-hit, 2 RBI night, 2 runs scored for Marsh. It's just one of those games where you look back on April and May and June, and you look at those two players and say, wow, we really wanted them off this team, gave up on them, and some people had more faith than others, but nobody was looking at them saying, oh, well, they're a big piece of this team. And lately, they've both stepped up hugely for the Philadelphia Phillies. Another big night for both of them, and a big night for the Fightins, and a chance for the sweep tomorrow. We'll talk more on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Yeah, we've been saying it all season, really. Phillies have been a very consistent team, even with their ups and downs. You can count on them to, put up the runs when they need it. They've got a great pitching staff, maybe the most reliable one other than Aaron Nola going into the early parts of the postseason. On the Mets side, Clay Holmes, Gregory Soto get lit up for 8 runs on 10 hits, going just a combined 5 1/3 innings pitched. And Juan Soto was 3 for 5, including his 39th home run of the year. He's too shy of hitting that career high of 41 that he got last year with the Yankees. Nice to have that short porch in Yankee Stadium when you're a lefty like him. Also swiped his 31st stolen base, which is already a career high. Previously was 12. So all of a sudden, Juan Soto is moving around the bases. That's 4 straight losses, JD, for the Mets, who have lost 7 of their last 10. They continue to let teams like the Giants and the Reds hang around much longer than anticipated. JD, when all is said and done, who's getting that third wild card spot in the National League between the Mets, the Giants, and the Reds?
I'm shocked that the Mets are falling apart the way they are. Like, it is surprising me. Each time I look up and they're losing again, I'm like, how is this happening with the amount of talent that they acquired at the deadline to go with the amount of talent that they already had on this team all season? Like, it's mind-boggling to me that they're not doing better than they are. Giants have been a surprise. I think I would give the upper hand to, I guess I want to go with the Giants pitching staff. I feel like that's something they might have the upper hand right now, but here we are with the Reds, who, also made some pretty good moves, and when healthy, they got a pretty solid pitching staff too, to go along with some decent hitters, not great hitters. If Ellie De La Cruz gets hot for the Reds, that's a big difference maker for them, because he's been really, really cold for quite a while now. And yet they've still been kind of chugging along, getting things done. So I know this is like the easy answer and stuff because I feel like they all deserve a chance here, but I am still going to stick with the Mets. I think they survive and make it into the playoffs over the Giants and the Reds.
That's a good way to put it. Surviving is what the Mets have to do. You don't even have to be good. You just got to survive at this point.
Yeah.
So, hold on to that spot, claim it. But, man, at one point, the Giants totally out of it. All of a sudden, we're talking about them here on September 10th / September 11th. We
were making fun of them because they weren't winning at all since the Devers trade, and they were so terrible, and how this was just a major mistake. And then here we are.
Here we are. Exactly. Hey, the Red Sox have shut out the mighty A's offense 2 games in a row. Could they do it a third time on Wednesday? That's coming up on MLB Game Night.
Today's show being brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It's time to fuel up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Flavors like grape, ginger, and lime. Some of the favorites of our everydayers, and whether you're out on the golf course or you just need that extra push to power through your day. Maybe your baseball team played on the West Coast and had to play 13 innings, and you just need a little extra for that day. Well, that's where this comes in. 5-Hour Energy Transfusion is going to deliver the flavor you love and give you the energy you need. Golfers, the golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, like the grape, ginger, and lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. You just buy, snap, and infuse your drink. It's delicious. And when you do that, you're going to have a chance to enter and win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Once again, that's 5hewin.com. Ends October 31st, 2025. Today's show also being brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season, it is here, and we're all excited about it. You, me, everybody. We're loving it. And FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel. Been doing it for years. Before I even had this gig, I was on FanDuel because it fits however you want to bet. Player props, one of my personal favorite things to do is build same-game parlays. It just makes everything more exciting. Or maybe you want to just jump into the live action as it unfolds. You can do that. This week starts on Thursday. Packers host the Commanders for Thursday Night Football. Both 1-0, both coming off big division wins. Plenty of great players to choose from. FanDuel is quick, easy. It's the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays or your Thursdays if you're going to pick players from there. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Keeping it going on an MLB game night, every game, every night. Let's take it to New York, where NY teams are just down bad right now. The Mets can't win. The Yankees got blasted by the Tigers on Tuesday. So how would things fare this time around? Some bad news, Yankee fans. It was very similar, almost a repeat. Don't adjust your television sets because it was not a repeat. The Tigers abused them again, this time by a score of 11-1. We've got Brian from Locked On Yankees, who's got some choice words for how this series is going so far.
Embarrassing isn't even the word. The Yankees dropped game 2 of the series to the Detroit Tigers, officially dropping the series as losing the first 2 games, and they get killed by a vaunted pitcher with 4 ERA. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. That is 2 consecutive losses by more than 10 runs. Exactly what the Yankees couldn't have ordered after coming out of the Astros series playing really well and the Blue Jays series coming really well. It has not been a good series for the Yankees, particularly the Yankee bullpen, which in 2 consecutive nights has imploded. We'll be discussing it on Locked On Yankees. Who can you trust and who can't you trust? Because there's a greater number for who you can't trust rather than who you can. All of it's available on Locked On Yankees all week.
Yeah, the Tigers, I should say, certainly able to trust Jack Flaherty. Just a modest 5 shutout innings, striking out 7 along the way. And then the Tigers can trust Riley Green and Gary Carpenter and Colt Keith to hit home runs like they did in this one for the Tigers offense. On the other side, Carlos Rodon was fine, giving up 2 earned runs in 6 innings, took the loss, falls to 16-8 on the year. But here's the thing, JD, Aaron Judge, just batting 190 in his last 20 at-bats. 1 RBI. His average has fallen down to 319, where he's tied with the A's Jacob Wilson for the AL batting title currently. JD, here's the thing. All those runs off Yankees relievers, and it wasn't even Devin Williams this time.
Yeah, wasn't his fault.
We've piled on Devin Williams plenty on this show. Listen, Mark Leiter Jr., Camilo Duvall, Tim Hill, Luke Weaver combined to surrender 9 runs. How many runs, JD? How
9 runs.
Is it time for Yankee fans to push the panic button? What do you say?
I don't know if I'm panicking because I still think they're making it to the playoffs, but how far they go, for sure. This bullpen has had issues all year, and when it gets to playoff time, you know as well as I do that, you know, these starters normally are going to go 5, maybe 6 if you're lucky, just kind of like they do in the regular season. And then if they turn it over to these bullpens, you know, the bullpens like what the Padres have right now, that's going to be a massive weapon. The Yankees don't have that right now. There's not a lot of trust going on for anybody in that bullpen right now. So a lot of question marks, and they're going to need these guys to step up if they're going to make it, you know, even past the first round that they play in this year, because it's been bad.
Yeah, it's been really bad. And look, these are names that you should be able to count on, like Camilo Duvall, Mark Leiter Jr., right? They've got David Bednar for the back of that bullpen and just not coming through when they need it. Let's keep it AL East. The Red Sox still in Sacramento. They shut out the A's in the first 2 games and went for the sweep this afternoon, but things were a little different this time around. We've got Booney from Locked On A's with the scoop.
After 2 straight shutouts, the A's finally inhaled life and exhaled noise. This is Boney from Locked On A's, and both Shea Langoliers and Nick Kurtz hit their 30th home runs of the year. Of course, solo shots, but the key hit was Tyler Soderstrom with a double, scoring 2, giving the A's a 4-3 lead. The A's bullpen, lights out, retiring 14 in a row before blowing it in the 9th. And with the unhittable Aroldis Chapman on the bump, Langoliers led the inning off with a double, and the Law Dog, Lawrence Butler, walked it off with a single. A's win 5-4 in a thriller. But today was more about what the Red Sox did not do, going 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. They had opportunities early to put this game away, but let the young start A's hang around. And you just don't do that with a young team. 5-4 A's.
Pesky is the word for the A's, whether they're Oakland or Sacramento or soon to be Vegas. They've always been pesky and they won't go away. And that defines this A's team this season. Let's take it over to Gabby from Locked On Red Sox. She's got her take on how things finished in Sacramento.
Aroldis Chapman proved that he's only human in the Red Sox loss against the A's. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, and the Red Sox unfortunately lost 5-4 against the A's today after the Red Sox had previously won the first 2 games of this series pretty handily. Today's game was the first real test that they faced in this series, and they kind of let this game get away. And just constant back and forth scoring, leading to the 9th inning. The Red Sox actually tied the game in the top of the 9th inning, and then Aroldis Chapman came in to pitch in the bottom of the 9th inning. He had gone 50 straight batters without allowing a single hit, but he gave up a double to start the inning and then a fly out to advance the runner to third, and then unfortunately gave up a single to allow the A's to walk it off. And it just wasn't the Red Sox day, and it wasn't Chapman's day, but Chapman is still the best closer in baseball right now, having a historic season, so I would no doubt still trust him to close out games in the playoffs. Just wasn't meant to be today for the Red Sox. Check out Locked On Red Sox on any podcast platform for more on this team.
Yeah, Gabby mentioned that 50-batter hitless streak that ended at the hands of Shea Langoliers. Wasn't a Bangolier, but it was a double-leer, I guess you could say. No runs given up since July 23rd for Chapman until today. Astros meeting the Blue Jays in Toronto. Toronto had a stunning comeback win on Tuesday. They host the Astros yet again. And once again, it was a 1-run ball game. This time it was the Astros scoring late to win it 3-2. It was Yainer Diaz hitting his 19th home run off Jeff Hoffman. We've talked about him before. And the Blue Jays gave the Astros a 3-2 lead. Brian Abreu, who has just been awful lately, came on once again, looked more like the Brian Abreu that we're used to, got a 1-2-3 inning, got his 5th save. Carlos Correa also went yard in this one, his 13th of the year, and also his 200th career home run to help support the offense in this one. Toronto's offense stymied by George Costanza, a.k.a. Jason Alexander, the starter for the Astros, tossed 7 shutout innings. Didn't get the decision. That's got to be frustrating if you're him, but I'm sure he's happy that his team was able to come away with the win in Toronto. All right, JD, we're going to talk about it. The Mariners trying to keep pace in the AL West, the AL wild card. JD's Cardinals, did they have something to say about that? Well, they kept us up all night, and we'll get to that next on MLB Game Night.
Today's show being brought to you by Nutrafol. Now, you've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. I don't believe it. There's a lot of products out there, not going to lie, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do something for you, but that's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look, because it is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. It's trusted by over 1.5 million people, and it's not just hype, you guys. This is a supplement that is clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. You know, Nutrafol is a simple add to your everyday routine. You know, you just take 4 pills with a meal. No prescription is required, actually, and you can, feel good about knowing that Nutrafol is actually NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. So if you want to see thicker, stronger hair, this is what you do. Less shedding. It could be yours in just 3 to 6 months with the Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB.
All right, before we take it to Cardinals and Mariners, let's take it to Cubs meeting the Braves in Atlanta, splitting the series so far at 1 game apiece. Jamison Tyone on the mound for the Cubs against the reigning NL Cy Young Award winner, Chris Sale. Not exactly the guy you want to face when your offense has been struggling the way that Chicago's has, but the Cubs do just enough to eke out a 3-2 victory and take the series. We got Sam Ober of Locked On Cubs with some happy thoughts, Peter Pan thoughts about what this bullpen achieved in tonight's game in Atlanta.
Now, that's a really nice series win right there by the Chicago Cubs. I'm Sam Ober from the Locked On Cubs podcast. 4 2/3 innings of shutout ball from the bullpen. Taylor Rogers, Porter Hodge, Caleb Thielbar, Brad Keller, and then Andrew Kittredge all put up zeros for the Cubs. The bullpen was the key tonight. I really respect what Counsell did there. I mean, hindsight's 20/20 and it worked, but Keller is obviously the best Cubs reliever. He got the 8th inning. I don't think it's because he's the 8th inning guy as much as that was the top of the Braves order. That was the tougher inning. And then Kittredge came in, and outside of one outing, he's done a really good job. Other highlights from the game, Nico Horner had 3 hits. He was 3 for 3 off Chris Sale, couple stolen bases. And Jamison Tyone was pretty good in his return from injury. This was a tough series. I have a lot of respect for these Braves players and this team to lose the opener and win the last 2. Really good from the Cubs. Hopefully they could build on it going into a home series against the Rays and can start stacking some wins.
You're seeing a lot more of managers using, would-be closers, but against the top of the order or the heart of the order, high leverage situations. And so a good note from Sam there about that. Carson Kelly, 17th home run of the year off Sale in the 4th. They touched Chris Sale up for 3 runs in 5 innings. He falls to 5-5. Cubs go 83-63 with another Brewers loss. They're now just 5.5 back of the Brew Crew in the NL Central. JD, Cubs had 11 hits in this one, able to get to Chris Sale, but just 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Is this a turning point for the offense with 11 hits, or does that 1 for 10 with runners on and in scoring position, does that speak volumes?
I mean, if I'm the Cubs, I'm taking any progress I can make, and I'm gonna point at that. I'm not gonna worry about the 1 for 10. I'm gonna point at the 11 and say, look, we're putting the ball in play. We're finding holes. We can do this. They essentially just need their big guys to be their big guys again. Say a Suzuki on this one, 1 for 2. He walked a couple times, so he was a factor. You're not relying on Carson Kelly to to win you games in the playoffs, you're going to rely on Kyle Tucker when he's back, and you're going to rely on PCA when he's back. Guys like Ian Happ are going to be huge. Nico Horner is going to be huge for them. He had 3 hits in this one. So they just need their best guys to be their best guys when the playoffs come around. I think it's a good lineup when they're, all going at the same time. And you can say that about anybody, but It's been a while since we've seen the Cubs be the Cubs that they were in that first half of the season. So for their sake, they need to start clicking here quickly, and to see 11 hits in one game, that's progress.
Yeah, it's a good direction to head in. PCA, by the way, all the way down in the 9th spot.
Ofer as well, I think.
Yeah, Ofer with a walk. Yeah. So and a strikeout. So there you go. He's got to be getting clicking again, please, PCA, please. All right, let's take it to Cleveland. The Guardians have been on a roll, hanging around the AL wild card. The Royals trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Guardians surpassed the Royals in the standings earlier this week, and the Royals came out 4-3 in this one, so they do end that losing streak. We got Justin from Locked On Guardians, and why this loss is such a big deal for Cleveland.
For the Cleveland Guardians on Wednesday night, falling to the Kansas City Royals 4-3. There have been a lot of losses this year the Guardians can look back on regretfully, including their 0-10 stretch, their 1-9 stretch. So in the big picture, this loss may not seem as big of a deal, but for a team that has been trying to climb back into the playoff race and try to run down a spot as the season ticks down, this one's going to sting. Justin Ladd here from Locked On Guardians. Logan Allen was just okay. He was fine, good enough. Kyle Manzaro hit a big home run to get him on the board. It was a rare off night for Stephen Kwan in terms of fundamentals. He got thrown out at third in the first inning when Manzardo eventually hit that home run that would have been a 3-run homer. Instead, it was a 2-run homer. And then he also made a poor choice to throw home on a single that didn't get the runner. Wasn't going to be close. And then Bo Naylor made the decision to throw the ball to second base to cut that runner that would have stayed at first base if Kwan had thrown there. That ball went to center field, and that guy eventually scored what was the go-ahead run in the game. The Guardians didn't have enough offense, and the defense didn't do the right things. The base running was bad. So the Guardians have not been gaining any ground during this winning stretch, and they didn't have a chance to do it because they lost on Wednesday. They'll try again Thursday to be a little less frustrating. We'll cover it all on Locked On Guardians. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, the Royals got 2 in the 7th inning on a single by Nick Lofton, and then Maikel Garcia hit the game-winning double. He's having a monster season. I picked him up 1 year too early in fantasy last year. Vinny Pasquantino gets in his 100th run of the season. Royals are now 74-72, 3.5 games back of the AL wild card. All right, JD, take us to the Pacific Northwest, where it's very, very late for us, but late for you where you're at. Let's go.
Yeah, well, it's been a tough series. Just like, when I say tough, it's been a tough, hard-fought series between both of these teams. The Mariners took the first 2, 4-2 on Monday, 5-3 on Tuesday. They would need extra innings to decide a winner tonight in this one because the pitching was so good for both sides in this particular game. Logan Gilbert, he kind of struggled. If we had the boys from Locked On Mariners here, they'd tell you that he didn't look as good as he normally does. But he did get multiple Ks in huge situations, including when he struck out 3 batters in a row when the Cardinals had the bases loaded and nobody out. So he was able to find that splitter when he needed it. And it was just kind of in between. He was just kind of having trouble, locating the fastball. He only goes 4 1/3 innings, but he does strike out 8 in that time. Ooh. Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals with a nice bounce back performance from his last outing. He goes 6 innings, allows just 1 run, and then he strikes out 4. Neither bullpen ended up cracking until the 11th inning. It was a 1-1 game in the 11th when the Cardinals got an RBI single from Thomas Ujasi to give them a 2-1 lead. He had 4 hits on the night, so big night for him, but the M's answer right back. RBI double by Jorge Polanco to tie it up at 2. They eventually go to the 13th inning, and that's when Leo Rivas walks it off. First pitch by Ryan Fernandez to win the ball game by a score of 4-2. 20th extra inning game for the Mariners, by the way. They're now 9-11 on the season in extra innings, and that win is huge for them because they keep pace with the Astros, who also won tonight, so they remain 1 game back in the AL West.
Putting a lot of mileage, flying miles for the Mariners, but also a lot of innings miles on the Mariners. They're playing a lot of baseball this season. Let's take it to San Diego, where the Reds evened up the series on Tuesday night with the Padres in a 4-2 win. They had Padres top pitcher, Nick Pivetta, who had his A game rolling on Wednesday, but Andrew Abbott equally as good and down 1-0 in the 8th, the Reds finally struck pay dirt. Jeff Carr of Locked On Reds, he's got one word to define this performance by Cincinnati.
That the Cincinnati Reds put on full display on Wednesday night to get the series dub over the Padres in San Diego, something they haven't done in a very long time. It was all about the gritty pitching performance from Andrew Abbott, where he gave the Reds 8 innings on a day that the bullpen, you really weren't sure who you were going to get because everybody's been so overused here recently. Tony Santillan comes into the 9th inning, allows a leadoff double, and he grits his way to a save, and the Reds win 2-1 thanks to a gritty 8th inning performance by this lineup. You had TJ Friedel getting on base, Ellie De La Cruz bringing him in, able to score. Oh, that inning was so phenomenal, but it was Miguel Andujar that gave the gritty pinch hit performance that brought in the go-ahead run. I cannot say enough about the grit of this team from the San Diego series because this is not something we've seen on a regular basis, but it's coming through at their best time. The Reds are now 2 games out of the wild card.
There you go. Yeah, the Reds certainly getting it done against the Padres.
I need to see Jeff Carr do the gritty. If he's going to say it over and over and over, I need to see it. Like, he's got Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. He does the grit. I need to see it. Jeff Carr, if you make the playoffs, you got to do the gritty.
Yeah, exactly. JD, take us to the Diamondbacks meeting the Giants. The Giants creeping up on the Mets, but this one was a little bit spoiled by the Diamondbacks, right?
Yeah, Arizona was in no mood to give the Giants any victories. They scored 4 in the first 2 innings, highlighted by a leadoff home run by Geraldo Perdomo, his 18th of the season. He also drove in another run later on with an RBI single in the 2nd inning. D-backs pushed it to 5-0 at one point, hung on for the victory. Final score in this one was 5-3 Diamondbacks. And with the Reds win and the Giants lost, they're now both 2 games back behind the Mets in that NL wildcard.
Yeah, taking it to the Rays in Chicago against the White Sox. Right in a 5-run 2nd inning, the White Sox featured 3 RBI doubles to spot them a 5-1 lead. Andrew Benintendi swatted his 19th home run in the 3rd to make it 6-1. The Rays wouldn't go away, though. They get 3 in the 5th thanks to home runs from Carson Williams and guess who? Junior Caminero, who's got 42 on the season. And then they added another one in the 6th. But the Sox bullpen puts the clamps down the rest of the way to get the victory. Chicago used 8 pitchers in this game, but it worked. The Rays fall a game under 500, 5 back in the wild card. Let me take you to my neck of the woods in LA, where the Rockies and the Dodgers met up one more time. No hitters, no perfect game teases, just a good old fashioned Dodgers beatdown of the Rockies. Blake Snell put up a season high 11 strikeouts over 6 innings of scoreless ball. Rockies threatened in the 7th with 1 out and the bases loaded, but Alex Vesia struck out 2 to get out of the jam. Bottom of the 8th, Mookie Betts hits a grand slam, puts the Dodgers up 8-0, his 4th hit of the game, and then Teoscar adds one for good measure to make it 9-0. JD, take us to Baltimore, where the Pirates met the Orioles.
A lot of drama for the Orioles recently with all these walk-off wins, so they kept it going on Wednesday when Dylan Beavers, one of their top prospects, hits a walk-off RBI single in the 10th inning to take down the Pirates 2-1. They've won 7 of their last 8 games, including 4 walk-off victories in their last 5 games. Another wasted effort for Paul Skeens, who tossed 5 shutout innings, struck out 8, and lowered his league-leading ERA to 1.92. What's going on with your Angels, buddy?
Yeah, out in Anaheim, the Angels beat the Twins and took the series 4-3. Mike Trout out of the leadoff spot. The guy's got a .368 on base percentage, and he's been struggling in the 3rd spot. They finally moved him to the leadoff spot today. 1 for 2 with a walk, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. That run came via Zach Neto for a 2-run home run. Trout's game-winning sac fly put the Angels up 4-3 after Byron Buxton had a 2-run homer that tied the game. Kenley Jansen notched the save to bring home the win for the Angels. Finally, Nationals meeting the Marlins. The Marlins salvaged their series against the Nats with an 8-3 win, snapping the Nationals' 4-game win streak. There was an error by C.J. Abrams to open up the 6th inning, and the Marlins put up 4, extending their lead later with Otto Lopez scoring Xavier Edwards with an RBI single, and then Edwards hit a 3-run home run in the 8th to put this one out of reach. Once again, 8-3 in favor of the Marlins. All right, everybody, thank you for being here for this episode of Locked On MLB Game Night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We got Lindsey Crosby and Steve Lennox tomorrow night for you, but we hope you'll come back and join us where it's every game, every night here on Locked On MLB Game Night.
Go Pack Go.